Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. We're gonna give everyone just a few minutes to come into the room. While y'all are doing that, I am just getting some things set up here. Hopefully everyone has been been doing well and happy Tuesday. Hey Black Introvert, as y'all are coming in the room, make sure you let me know that you are in the room and also that you guys can hear me okay as well. Alright, so there we are. Hey Helena, hey DJ Moss, hey y'all. So happy Tuesday. If this is your first time joining me, every Tuesday we talk about some of the trending topics and some of the crazy things going on in this political space. Hey Cajun, hey Southeast Dusty. Um, and so I know it's been crazy out there. Hopefully everyone is doing well. It looks like life is mostly going back to normal, y'all. So I went out for dinner on Friday with some friends, and I'm thinking like, yeah, just pull up. When we get there, it's a 40-minute wait, and I'm like, I had kind of forgot it was like Friday, like weekend, but still, my mind is still thinking like everybody's still hiding in the house and stuff like that. Well, apparently, y'all are not. Y'all are out here getting back in the world. Okay, the place that I was at, the food was wonderful. It was packed from wall to wall. I was like, these people really ready to get out of the house. Um, so so I see some people saying I'm breaking up a little bit, no video. Let me know if y'all can see me. Hey Grace. Other people let me know in the chat. Hey Pilu. So it has been a little rainy here, so my internet has been maybe a little bit choppy, but let me know that y'all can see me. But yeah, so I was shocked. I'm glad that y'all are getting back outside, living y'all lives, okay? Which is good because regardless of what they're telling you on TV, the world hasn't stopped. Okay, these news anchors, these politicians, they checks haven't stopped coming. They're still making their money. They're still enjoying their friends. A couple of them, y'all remember why they was on the TV telling y'all that they were hiding in their basement due to COVID. Whole time we find out you out here almost getting in a fight with biker boys. What's that guy's name? Cuomo. I think that was him. Okay. Chris Cuomo. The truth always comes out. And it's a couple of these others that were, let them tell it, okay, had COVID. But then you out and about. So which one is it? So so it looks like things are slowly kind of, getting back to normal. And things like that. Black introvert said, Corona slow nobody up, LOL. I don't know. Some of y'all was hiding in y'all closets, y'all basements while I was out here getting it all summer, hanging out and whatnot. But Bruce said, thank goodness I'm in freedom loving Texas and no longer in Philly. We've been getting out since June. Well, happy to hear that. Of course, y'all stay safe. But one of the things, we that I push is people taking personal responsibility. And I've talked, and I'll mention this again for maybe first time viewers, because people will be like, oh, you didn't say this or you said this and blah blah blah. So maybe for first time viewers, I want to be clear that even with me, right, even though I was on the go, I still made accommodations for my grandmother who's going to have some of those underlying conditions and things of that nature, right? And the scale of the decisions that you make are going to be based on your own personal consequences or your own personal things that you have going on. This is why we call these things like personal responsibility. Before I get too far, let me go ahead and shout out my patrons. Thank you to everyone who supports my content, particularly this Tuesday night live show. Thank you guys so much for making this possible. A special shout out to my VIP patrons, Michael Ray, Daniel, and Alexander. Thank y'all so much. And nobody's asked me about this dope hoodie yet. We do not negotiate with tyrants, all right? So this is the homies hoodie, all right? These are super dope. I love this. This is comfortable. Everywhere I go, I get feedback on this. People love it. They want to have conversations. You want to grab one of these, okay? They're on his website, arlife2018.com. This is Dev from Trenchwork Chronicles. Some of you may have seen us we were at the Libertarian National Convention together. We both spoke on that panel. And we were also both in Virginia at the Black Lives Matter 2A rally. But I am going to drop that link below, and for you guys that are going to be watching a replay of this, I will be sure to put that in my description box. So y'all make sure, if y'all like that, it's winter time, it's getting cool, if you're like cool and from the South like me, then you still getting a little sun, you may still be walking around in your little sandals or your shorts or your whatever. My sister and her husband was out there like barbecuing and stuff today, hanging out on the patio and stuff like that. So, but all right, y'all. So hopefully everybody's going well. I see people have slowly come in. Hey, Jupiter Black. Hey, Gal. Long time no see. All right, y'all. So I know y'all have been seeing the absolute madness that has been going on as we go into the election. We are it is October 20th, so I don't even know how many days that gives us to the election, but I do know that that's less than a month, okay? So we're talking about maybe just a few weeks here. And I told y'all all of the rhetoric and the craziness was going to be bumping up. So before I go into that, I have this book here that I've been reading. If you never read this book, check this out, okay? This book is called Freedom by Adam Kokesh. If you don't have this book, you should definitely look into it. And so what I'm liking about this book is it's very interesting because it talks about the government, right? And it talks about our concepts of freedom and how the government constantly impedes on that, oversteps its boundaries, overreaches. And this book has really challenged me because even the levels of freedom that I imagine is possible, that I imagine was, of course, beyond some of those terrible things in the history of America, right? But even allegedly, the principles that America was supposed to be founded on, and when we talk about those things and juxtapose those to the things we see now, whether we're talking about mandating masks, okay? Whether we're talking about freaking lockdowns where y'all, my mind was blown. I was actually upset, and I don't know who I want to write about this. I don't know what I want to do. It's just crazy. But anyway, right? So I think about even these COVID lockdowns. The governor made the decision the governor, with the help of the mayor, made these decisions to make these businesses that were not essential close down, right? So you close down my job, but you're still sending me, you turn around months later and you send me a bill in the mail for my to renew my tag for my car. How does this make sense? How is this okay? The same government that told me, oh no, you can't work because it's not safe, They send you a little $1,200 check in the mail, and then it's like, oh, you're on your own. Do your own thing. And yet, you still send me stuff in the mail saying, yeah, but we gonna need that up off you. How have we made this okay? I just don't get it. And so, it's some really freaky, like dystopian level government overreach that's going on. And I think sometimes we've been, it's so much propaganda, and the media, the government has even infiltrated us. It talks about this in this book. It's really good. The government has infiltrated us with propaganda, even through the ways they talk about democracy, the ways they talk about patriotism, and all these things that still hinder and limit freedom. And so it's really good, particularly like me seeing some of these things firsthand and from a different perspective, especially here recently since I've been studying the media, studying politics more, looking at the legislation that's being passed, paying attention to the ways they are projecting certain things to us, trying to make us believe certain things. And so it's really interesting. And of course, I always try to keep y'all abreast of this journey. And that's another thing I want to start doing more, sharing some of the stuff that I'm reading with y'all. But this is a really good book to it's been challenging me to even push my boundaries on what I even believe freedom is. So again, Freedom by Adam Kokesh, and I will drop that in the chat. And for people watching back, I'll make sure to put that in the description box. So I want to do that more. I want to, you know, we talk about a lot of the crappy stuff that we think is going on in the media and politics and stuff like that. But we definitely want to be inspirational, motivational, talk about things that we can do in our personal lives, things we can share to motivate people, and expanding freedom. Like I always talk about that, expanding freedom, because you have to remember every single time they make a law or a regulation. I walked into the gas station the other day and it said, due to the government's what did it say? Due to government's recommendations, you need to wear a mask in here. I'm thinking like recommendations are not laws, first of all. But even beyond that, right? Every single time we promote something as being policy or law or a regulation, we have to remember that every single one of those laws comes by threat of force. That's what that is. And so we have to constantly challenge ourselves and ask ourselves, okay, do we believe that this law, this regulation, this thing is worth the threat of force? If my neighbor doesn't agree with me and my neighbor doesn't want to do this, do I believe that a police officer should be able to show up where they are, at their home, wherever, and make them do this? And that police officer is going to have a what? Gun on their hip while they're trying to take yours. All right. So these are just things we need to remember. And it's kind of interesting because it even makes me think about this when we're going to be talking about 50 Cent tonight. And in this book, it talks about how, just ownership of our own labor, right? And things we do. And it kind of made me think about that with 50 Cent recently talking about him, not being cool with the taxes that would be imposed under Joe Biden's plan and things like that. But I don't want to get too far into that right now, but I'll kind of come back and connect that as we go into that. But all right, y'all. So, shout out to everybody joining us. Happy Tuesday. I see some more people came into the room, and hopefully everyone is doing okay. So let's talk about this, y'all. Let's talk about how these rappers and actors and disc jockeys and comedians, they are just going haywire, okay, going into the election. So let's start by talking about Ice Cube. So this kind of started with him. I know y'all are already familiar, and I'm not gonna show a lot of like videos tonight. We're gonna mostly do text because my internet connection has been acting kind of janky. Um, but I know most of you are already familiar with Ice Cube coming out with his contract, okay? Contract for Black America. And he has been very vocal about this. He has presented this contract to both Democrats and Republicans. Well, people have responded to this. Now people are going their own direction as we go closer into the election. And, you know, everyone has an opinion, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. We want people to have, you know, the freedom to speak, to say what they want. I don't think your job denies you the opportunity to speak. However, I think because of the role that Hollywood plays, uh, in America, in American culture, the role that Hollywood plays, the role that hip hop culture plays, and how they are such a big part of our lives, right? Even pop culture, all of these things are so intertwined within the fabric of American culture that these things start to bleed into politics. And then we have to start asking these questions. Well, you know, is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? And even though that I am of the belief that overall, I think this is problematic, okay? I have not been quiet about this. I literally have a shirt that says entertainers are not leaders. Shout out to everyone that has purchased one of those so far. And if you would like one, that link is below in my description box, okay? So, entertainers are not leaders, right? This is not a new concept. This was actually inspired by Malcolm X, who talked about this years ago in the 60s. All right. We're in 2020. He was in the 60s. And if you go back and even read, and why he's super inspirational to me is because if you go back and listen to a lot of the things that he said in those times, they're still very relevant today, right? So he would talk about how all these singers and trumpet players, right? And I think he even said comedians would be invited to the White House, and he's like, these people are not leaders. This is not happening by accident. This is happening for a reason. Okay. And so, though we believe and want people to have the opportunity to speak, to say what's on their mind, we want people to share, we don't want people to be confined by their title or label. Even though we believe these things, it will be absolutely, completely, absurdly naive to ignore the role that money and favors could play when it comes to pushing entertainers, particularly in the Black community, because as you're going to see tonight, we're not talking about Taylor Swift. We're not talking about Katy Perry. We're not talking about Lady Gaga. We're not talking about Justin Bieber. Okay? So, even though every now and again, yes, you have people like Killer Mike who has done things that I absolutely like and I absolutely agree with, okay? I've talked about how I'm a fan of Kanye West. Certain things he has said, I agree with. I like. There are albums that Kanye West have done that I love. He's a fan of his music, okay? Um However, we have to take a look at the role depending on what the person, uh goals or what they aspire to, who's funding them, who's behind them, who's signing their checks, who's giving them the pats on the back or the you know the walks into whatever doors they're trying to get through. These are things that have to be looked at, right? Even like politicians, I've said this, and I used to say this very heavy early on, and I haven't as much. But even if, when it comes to a politician, if you want to see where they're going to fall on certain issues, we always say, look who's funding them. Okay. So I've talked about this. I've talked about when it comes to a person like Kanye West and when it comes to a person like Boosie, right? And I am not endorsing these people. There are things that Boosie, for people watching that he may not be as familiar, Boosie is a rapper from the South. He's more popular, amongst like the black community. I don't. He's not like Kanye West or Jay-Z level. Let's just put it like that. Um, so I'm not endorsing these people. There are things that they've done that I just absolutely 100% don't agree with, right? But when you have a person like Boosie that I told y'all, like some of them get these phone calls where they get their strings pulled. You saw what they did to Snoop Dogg when Snoop Dogg was running around here calling Gail a funky, you know what, this, that, and the other. Somebody got on their phone and said, Snoop Dogg, if you want to keep your endorsements, your shows, your deals, your blase, you better make this right and you better watch your mouth. Then what happens? You on a red table talk, you get neutered by women, because that's what it is, right? They start pulling your reins in a little bit. Okay. And they say, if you want to be the face of this, if you want this opportunity, if you want more opportunities, if you want to keep your same amount of money, they did it to Nick Cannon. Okay. If you want to keep these same levels of opportunities or whatever you have going on, you need to say this. You need to think this. You need to retract this. Okay. But when you have somebody like a Kanye West or a Boosie, Kanye West, who says, I'm a free man. This a free man talking. When you have somebody like Boosie that says, oh, I don't care that Jay-Z calling me. I don't want to take a phone call from Jay-Z. In the South, they know Boosie. They rock Boosie. People don't be like, hey, like, put on that Jay-Z. You know what I mean? And no disrespect to Jay-Z, and I'm paraphrasing Boosie. Some of y'all will remember this. This was when they were trying to pull Boosie chains, right? Because he was, the controversy about Dwayne Wade's son / turned into or turning into a girl. And Boosie had his comments and people didn't like it, right? So what do the elite, the behind the scenes, the whatever y'all want to call them, puppet masters, gatekeepers? But Boosie comes out and say, like, nah, I'm not cool with that. I don't care that you got Jay-Z or whoever else trying to call me. This is my opinion. I said what I said. I'm sticking to it. Now, when you have people like that, you'll have a Boosie who will never be able to reach a certain status. It's not going to happen. Now, this may be debatable. You could say, well, that's more so just have to do with his music. His music is just not universal enough, right? Yeah, I could, you could probably say that has something to do with it. However, when you say certain things and it does not align with the mainstream media, it does not align with the current theme, it does not align with the propaganda, you will be blackballed. You will be pushed aside. You will be lied on, okay? If you saw that recent interview with Ice Cube and Chris Cuomo starts the interview by saying, was that Chris Cuomo? Andrew Cuomo? One of them. I get them mixed up. I think it's Chris. That's on CNN. He starts the interview. He literally starts the interview by saying, well, Ice Cube has been meeting with the Trump team. This is his lead, or is working with the Trump team. This is his lead in to start the interview with Ice Cube. Ice Cube immediately comes on. The first thing he says is, I think that was a little misleading. I think that was a little misleading. All right. I talked about this plan. I was willing to meet with both Democrats and Republicans. I am not endorsing anyone. Ice Cube had to nip it in the bud. Right there. He had to do it live in that moment. Now, just think about this. If Chris Cuomo could skew something, attempt to skew something that quickly, and had the nerve, had the gall, had the balls to do it not only in front of you and I on national TV, but to do it in a person that he's trying to spew this propaganda against. Y'all just imagine. Just imagine what they do every day. Literally, it's almost unfathomable. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. But if they could do that with this man sitting here, now I want you to start thinking back to all of the times where the media would say, oh, this person said this, and we never heard the audio, right? This person said this. One of our sources said somebody said this in a private room, or they said this over a phone call, or they said this in the Oval Office, but we're not going to name our source. Do y'all see what I'm saying? So this fake news thing is really real, and it's happening in real time. And some of these same organizations, people, y'all have to realize they also write the history books. Okay, they are working, some of these people within the government and within the media, to digital book burning in real time. This is happening. So this is why it's very important. I was so glad that Ice Cube shut him down, because don't do that. Don't come in here with this narrative. I'm not going to let you propagandize this. And in real time, I'm going to repeat this for the audience. And this is why it's so important, why I always tell y'all, usually it's better if you just read the articles, right? Even if you don't read the articles, go back and watch full interviews. Because imagine even if they would have cut that interview up, which it did. The interview has still been cut up and put all over social media. So these are some things to be wary of. We have to remember that the media is a leg of politics. You know, whether people want to admit it, whether people want to look at it like that. It's what's the guy's name? This was back in the, so before I say this, I would always say, like, if I was ever going to be a teacher, right? If I was ever going to be a teacher, I would have been like a history teacher. But then I was like, no, I can't be a history teacher because I can never like remember like dates and names. And I'm like really good with concepts. If I understand a concept, like I got it forever. But them freaking dates, and you have to take the test, and this happened on this date and do this timeline. But anyway, there's a guy. I cannot think of, it's like, it starts with a B. It's like a Barnaby. What is his name? Anyway, he was hired by the government. This was several years ago, to learn how to push propaganda into our media. Somebody in here is gonna know, because y'all are like smart as heck. And I've posted this stuff before, but it's really hard for me to like keep these names and dates in my mind. But he's literally like the father. He's called like the father of like propaganda or something like that. But he was working with like the CIA and just all kind of crazy stuff to start pushing this propaganda into our media, right? So even if you're thinking about, I don't want to take y'all too deep tonight. See, Gab telling me to teach. Gab, I ain't trying to be here all night, right? But even if we go back to even feminism, and I ain't gonna take y'all too far into this. I was just using this as an example. There was a push that was backed for, paid. See, some of y'all may not know this. I'm gonna put it out there, and you can go ahead and do your research. Part of the feminist agenda, y'all, we got trench work in the building. Okay, this is Devs. I told y'all about this. If you're just coming into the room, I dropped this in the chat, and actually I'll drop it again if you want your hoodie. But all right, So, Borna Clay, that's his name. Borna Clay. Is that right, y'all? Borna Clay. That might not be his name. I'm like really bad with names. That's probably not it. It don't look like that's it. Anyway, ignore that. But all right, so I'm getting off track. But anyway, Edward Barney. Thank you. I'm like, somebody in here is gonna know. I don't know why I said Borna Clay. Thank you, Bruce the Boss Brooks. He said Edward Barney's father of propaganda, right? So that was a person that worked directly with the government to start pushing propaganda through these other mediums, right? And even if you didn't know this, and many of you may know, even at the start of feminism, you had government agencies basically paying to get some of this propaganda. And yes, I'm going to call it propaganda because if you know some of the history of that and how we were told, because a lot of times we're told this is what things are supposed to be and this is what they're supposed to mean. And then we'd be like, how the heck did we get here? You know what I mean? So whether we're talking about feminism, where I was just talking to a friend about this the other day, feminism, if y'all didn't know, they used to actually be against things like Playboy, right? They didn't want women to only be looked at as their body. But now, apparently, feminism has to do, it's more about being your own pimp instead of letting somebody else do it. I guess that's more autonomy, I suppose. But I don't know when the people have not just been allowed to use their bodies. Prostitutes been a thing since the freaking beginning of time. But anyway, then right, we look at even the LGBT movement. I talked about my like moment with this because I'm like, it was just 2012. We was like, okay, grown people just want to make their own decision and be with who they want to be with. And I'm like, okay. And now you telling me a boy is a girl and a girl is a boy and ain't no difference. And so we have to look at how these things are being implemented in certain things over time. But we've had these levels of propaganda. And so the media has always been a leg of the government. Always. Years and years and years. Okay. So that means Hollywood, because media is going to go into Hollywood, who's the most influential people in your media, your actors, your actresses. You have your news talk show host, right? Who are talking to you every night at 7 p.m. or 9 p.m. And these people are infiltrating your thoughts with their. I posted this on Twitter the other day. I have a new Twitter now, y'all, and I'll drop that later. But it's Hey Y'all Videos. Because y'all know they've been blocking me off every time I try to do a new Twitter. But I talked about this. The other day, how I just lost my thought. It's gonna come back to me in a second. I don't know. It'll come back to me later. But anyway, so we will be very naive to ignore some of these things happening. So let's start. Let's start. See, I can't go too far off track tonight, y'all, because y'all know I will be going. Bruce said, now you're getting into Operation Mockingbird, waking the masses up. Thank you, Bruce. And so, yes, we have to remember, even though you may have entertainers that come along that may be genuine, right? We may agree with things they say. And then you do have some that come along that's truly independent and they're like, they're the Boosies and the Kanye's. And the unfortunate part, you had the people like Kanye West that have gotten all the money. They feel like they're at the status. They got what they need. They're good. They put their money in places where their money can make more money. And it's like, I can say what the heck I gotta say. And then you have people like Boosie that's like, look, this is who I am. I rather forego any opportunities that y'all are trying to gatekeep me from, just to keep my voice and my opinion. Like, it is what it is, and that's where we at with it, you know. And so you're gonna have those people of the world, and some people may be genuine, but we have to remember that many, many, many more. For every one that may be independent, that may be genuine, you're gonna have probably another 500, maybe not 500, okay, 300 who are maybe conniving, maybe lying, maybe looking the other way, maybe intentionally taking favors or opportunities, right? I even talked about this with somebody like a Simone Sanders, who comes on national TV because it's hot right now, right? Y'all remember the talking point of there'll never be able to be another white man, old white man in the highest office of the land. Y'all remember when that was a talking point a little bit miles away? And now, ain't nobody thought about that. That's in the back of y'all head as y'all fight over which old white man y'all prefer to win this election, okay? So you have Simone Sanders saying something like that because it's a great talking point. It's a great sound bite. It's in the height of things like Black Lives Matter and coming after Obama and Trump, racist, right? And so it works in your favor as this talking person to get that 3 seconds of, oh, the Shade Room is going to post this, and Fox News is going to post it because they got something to say, and CNN is going to highlight me, right? And then as soon as Joe Biden campaign call up, baby, I'm on the first thing smoking. I'm on the first train to get my opportunity into the White House under that white man that I just never said would ever be able to do this again. So do y'all see how the money can bring the switch up when the money is the motivation? We've seen it happen in real time. It's not like I'm making this up. We can make examples for it. We've seen Simone Sanders. We've seen Nick Cannon switch up and get real humble. Oh, he humble now. Real humble. I said they got your boy out here on a doggone embarrassment tour. Like, how many times you gotta apologize? Good grief, they trying to make an example out of you. So you got Nick Cannon out here on his apology tour. You got Snoop Dogg over here in his chair, look like Jada Pinkett little self about to make him cry. Let's call it what it is. When that phone start ringing, especially don't let it be Oprah team on the other end. When that phone start ringing, depending on who you are, where you stand, if you solid or not, if you're 10 toes down, you're going to cower, okay? You're going to cower to the powers that be or whatever else y'all want to call them. We've seen it. Genghis Khan and others before and after him used propaganda in their warfare. Nothing new. Absolutely. But if we could only get people to see the line, right, between the crossover, the parallels between entertainment and politics, and how they even further push entertainment on us, even when we like, that's enough. I think we good. Joe Biden and Kamala could have did without the rap battle, or the freaking stripper ad. Or did y'all see this crazy ad with these celebrities that recently came out and they're all naked? And they're like, don't leave your ballot naked or some stuff. Did y'all see that? But it's just a lot. All right, so first of all, let's get into your boy Diddy coming out with the Our Black Party, party and website. I told y'all I did a video on this recently. This was probably just a couple months back. I don't know. Days been blurring together since post-COVID lockdowns. But it wasn't that long ago where I did a video with my Entertainers Are Not Leaders shirt. Cheap plug if you want one. link in the bio. And I told y'all, Diddy is a grade A grifter. This man is a grade A grifter, okay? Grade A, top of the line. Y'all have literally heard for years. And it speaks to his character. So I'm gonna bring it up. Like, let's be real, all right? We see how he did Cassie. We see how that went. It's been years where people have talked about how he has treated his artists. This is no secret. So when it comes to just morals or, being principled or trusting somebody to be, you know, 10 toes down, is this the person that we're really looking to? Eh, eh. The same guy that just came out a couple of months ago, and I was like, we holding our vote. I did a video about it, and I told y'all then he's a grifter, okay? Comes full circle. Now it's 100% obvious for the people that it wasn't obvious for, right? So, we're holding our vote. We're holding our vote so we can get somebody to do something, this and the other, for black people. Da 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 da. Right before the election, you come out with another political party. Okay. First of all, let's talk about this, and I think y'all should be able to see that now. But let's talk about this, right? So first of all, you come out with a political party, ourblackparty.org. Now, this is completely emotional. All emotional based. I don't care how you feel about this. I don't care how you feel about me saying this. I don't care that you like the idea. I'm going to keep it real with you. I'm going to tell you what's going on here. All right. This is completely emotional. First of all, because let's start with the simple fact that black people make up 13% of the population and dwindling. 13% of the population. All right. Not only that, dwindling, okay, going down. Not only that, Hispanics have been allowed to replace you. We have Spanish speakers, which are Spanish is the second most spoken language in America. We have a Spanish population that is increasing. We have a Spanish, because y'all have to remember, okay, money makes sense. When you have a population that is representing more numbers, that means more money. So y'all can see this even with the interest. I called out your boy Jay-Z. Oh, we done with the protesting. You know what I'm saying? But Black Lives Matter. But now I'm going to put these two Hispanic women. The grifting be something serious, man. The grifting be something serious. We out in Miami. I'm going to put these two Hispanic women on the stage for the Super Bowl, even though, I'm working with the NFL, on our social justice. They stay playing, y'all. I mean, hey, look, it is what it is. Jay-Z, get your money. If people gonna constantly, hey, look, if y'all eating it up, y'all let these people say anything, and y'all take these press conferences, whoop the whoop the whoop, use words like social justice, our black party, this and the other. What can you say? All right. So you have a Hispanic population that is increasing. I've told y'all, I have forewarned. You only have a few more years where people even give a crap about you. I'm just saying this is strictly off numbers. It's true. Especially when you continue to throw yourself in a people of color, minority box. You in the other box. You in a other box. So it's just the box of others. You ain't white, you can go in this box. And you thrown in there with every other, and these same people are telling you you the special other, or you the other, or all the others are equal others, and your enemy is everybody other than the people in this other box. And you've been getting what you get. All right. So then you have Diddy come out with the Our Black Party right before the election. Okay, right before the election, right before you just said you weren't going to give the vote to anyone before, oh, they do this for the black community. So even after you do this, and if y'all actually go on here and read the values and agenda and stuff like that, very similar to the DNC's policies, right? Now, some of these things they may not say as abruptly, like legalize marijuana, right? But they talk about trying to undo some of those convictions. You do have some Democrats trying to move towards that high quality, affordable education, income redistribution, right? They may not say some of these exact words. You have somebody like AOC that says it, and we know she's put there to kind of bring some of the younger people into the Democratic Party, right? And where she may say some of these things more abruptly, or basically just say exactly what it is. You have some of these people that are more politicians, they're more polished, so they'll lie, or they'll say something cuter, or they'll omit certain things so they can keep some of their moderate voters, so they can keep some of their older voters, but then they'll try to kind of a little bit attach themselves to like the AOCs, right? And things like that. But if you actually go read this, super freaking similar to the already DNC platform, okay? Just uses the word black more here and there. And things like that. It uses more of these social media slogans. Decriminalize poverty, right? And so y'all can go read it here. Super short. I've always told y'all, be very weary of people that package these things and they just say things without, like, laws are unfairly applied to black people, particularly black people. We are calling on local governments to stop making crimes of the very quality of life issues they should be working to fix. We demand the government at every level remove imprisonment and exorbitant fines for quality of life offenses and in cash bail in the US. Okay, so some of these same things they talked about, right? Like ending cash bail, uh uh removing fines, which is the same thing. Quality of life offenses, like, what does that even mean? So not really going into some of those deeper thought out things. And even if you take a look at Ice Cube's plan, even being more thought out than this, right? But not only this, so you go on to do this, which people may assume, maybe, maybe Diddy has good intentions. Bam. Right out of office. He has to go. We can't allow this man to continue to try and divide us. The people that have the most responsibility and should be scared to death of this man are white people. Scared to death of this man are white people. We are on the we are on the verge of a race war. We are on the verge of a race war. war. You can't be we are on the verge of a race war and anti-gun. You cannot. It's not possible. In fact, it's the most possibly manipulative thing. And then you not only say that, but you go on to practically endorse Joe Biden, because if your number one priority is to only get Trump out of office, that's exactly what that is, right? Like, you're endorsing Joe Biden, who has said, oh, yeah, like, absolutely, of course we're going to take your guns. Okay? Um, so Diddy, you a grifter. Somebody hit you on a line and was like, man, you need to stop with all the talkity talk. Because how somebody else explain the switch? What causes that big switch? All right. Not only this is your boy. This is your boy right here. Not only that, who does it say it's paid for right here? This is when the money calls. Paid for by ActBlue.com. What did I say coming into this? You want to know where somebody's opinions are going to sway? See who's funding them. Paid for by ActBlue. You mean the same ActBlue that is funneling money between Black Lives Matter, between to the Democratic Party? Is it starting to make sense now? Is it starting to add up when I say that why it's nearly impossible for entertainers to be leaders is because when you get that freaking call and ActBlue says, look, we'll give you part of these proceeds, we'll funnel it to one of your nonprofits, we'll help you get this airtime, we'll do you some type of favor for Revolt TV. It's right freaking here on the website, people. You cannot make this up. Paid for by ActBlue.com. Does it let me go click on their website from here? Let's see if I can get to ActBlue. You cannot make this up. The swindle is so strong, and I don't like it, y'all. I don't like it. I don't like that. I don't like that they think we're naive. They think we're naive. Let me show y'all ActBlue. Diddy, our Black Party is this is ActBlue. ActBlue is a fundraising organization. 12 million Democrat donors have saved their payment information with us via an ActBlue Express account. Fundraising tools. Democrat donors. Powering, it's right here, y'all. Powering Democratic candidates, committees, parties, organizations, and C4Ss around the country. So this is what Diddy did for people that maybe you're not fully conceptualizing this yet. Maybe you don't want to accept it yet. I'm going to bring it back in the most RhondaMary way that I can. Diddy funneled y'all emotions. He turned your emotions. I've told you how they do this. He turned your emotions by starting a website called Our Black Party. He turned your emotions into emotional capital. Emotional capital translates into dollars. Diddy came to you, oh, we gonna do something for black people. I'm down for black people, right? You go to his website, which is funded by ActBlue. They don't even allow you. So I noticed actblue.com was not hyperlinked, so you couldn't immediately go from it from the page. I had to type in ActBlue. ActBlue tells you right here, powering Democratic candidates. How are you starting an organization that's already linked to another party? This is mind blowing, man. And the people that are wrapped up in their emotions, y'all are wrapped up in these social justice terms. Uh, uh, you throw black on something and just accept it for whatever. Accept the grifting because somebody throws black on it. They throw minority on it. They throw abolish poverty and all these other terms, right? This dude wrapped y'all emotions up into something else and funneled it into the same thing. The funny thing about it is this is my personal belief is very similar to what people like AOC and Bernie did back in 2016. I actually thought that Bernie he may believe in the things he says. I don't know. But the way he let the DNC use him and appears to be some type of controlled opposition, when you let this happen to you a second time, you let the DNC run over you, abuse you, and I'm starting to think that you were used, similar to this may be happening to AOC as well, right? You say these ideas more loudly and abruptly instead of talking your way around it like the Joe Bidens and the Kamala Harrises. You say these things, you get the young people on board, and then you sell out to the same people. You package it different. You play on people's emotions. You tell them social justice. You put your fist up in the air, make them think you're feeling them, and then you funnel them right back into the same thing. This is what Diddy just did. So when I said just months ago, Diddy is the highest level grifter, this is what I mean. They do it in real time. They don't hide it from you. If you don't care to do the work, you are forever going to stay on the emotional roller coaster. They're going to forever use your uh, they're going to forever use your willingness to be naive, to not research, to not look into things. They're going to flip your emotional capital into money and favors and opportunities for them. And so excuse me for being scarred by people like Diddy. uh Bruce said decriminalize poverty. He does realize Biden is the architect of the crime bill, right? Which is intentionally led to mass incarceration of blacks. Thank you, Bruce. Right from round, don't make me say it wrong. Round something. Make sure you type it because I'm not saying it right. But around the dinner table podcast, it's something similar to that. I'm not completely saying it right. Hey, buddy, great show so far. Peace and blessings, right in the building. Thank you so much. Y'all make sure y'all go over there and follow him. He's doing some really good content. We've done an interview over there recently that was really good. So y'all make sure y'all give him a thumbs up and a subscribe over there at his podcast. But thank you, Ray. But this is what you have. So when you have a person like me that's scarred and CBS like that, it's hard to filter through, who's being genuine. and the things like that. And especially when this has been talked about, this is not new. Like I said early on, Malcolm X talked about this concept years and years. I'm exaggerating, but back in like the 60s, right? So that's Diddy. All right. Then you got people come out mad at freaking 50 Cent. All right. So 50 Cent goes on to tweet this. It has a top tax rates by state under Biden plan. So this looks like maybe a Fox News or it looks like a Fox News or a possibly MSNBC screenshot. Well, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna assume is a Fox News because I don't think MSNBC will post anything like this. But it's one or the other. Top tax rates by state under Biden tax plan: California 62.6%, New Jersey 60%, New York State 58%, New York City 62%. So 50 Cent goes on to say, "What if vote for Trump? I'm out. If New York, the Knicks never win anyway. Don't care. Trump doesn't like black people. 62%. Are you out of your effing mind?" Um. So I found this kind of interesting. First, I want to start off by saying that the links y'all go, or some people go to disparage or call people names, particularly ones that have like racial connotations to them, and not only that, but allow people of other ethnicities to get comfortable calling black people certain names because of their political positions, takes, things like that, is absolutely freaking disgusting to me. I think it's the most annoying thing ever, because just because this person agrees with you politically, even the idea that any type of person of a other ethnicity even believes you have the audacity to speak on a decision, a personal decision that I'm making for myself, you're not about to talk to me like that. And regardless of, it is some people that I absolutely, y'all know, I have talked about a number of these celebrities, right? I may not agree with their position. I may not agree with some of the things they say, but I have never gone on to try to disparage or talk down anything, particularly when it comes to a racial connotations. Y'all think y'all so freaking cool with people like the Young Turks, because I went off about this before. See, I did almost say something mean, but I'm actually not going to say anything mean. So I'm going to just say that guy, Jank, I think that's how you say his name, okay? You sit here and not even him, right? But not even just him, but I even remember conversations on CNN, people calling Kanye West, referring to him as dumb and a Negro that doesn't read, right? And sometimes I use the word Negro. Y'all know I use that word on my channel. But to say he doesn't read, and knowing the history of that in American culture, believing that black people don't read. If you weren't here at the beginning of the show, I just recommended this book called Freedom by Adam Kokesh. Okay, if you don't have this book, check it out. Challenger Ideas on Freedom, really good book. But to say these things and to say it to your freaking white audience while trying to sit here and pretend like you care about black people, I'm not with it. It's BS. It's not cool, and y'all know it's freaking wrong. That's literally how it reminds me. It just grinds my gears. It makes me so upset. It reminds me of all these freaking uh uh um white liberals, okay, let's just call it what it is, crossing their little bridges into these inner cities, y'all blocking black people that ain't even at the protest, got nothing to do with that, burning down freaking black owned businesses, crossing over, blocking black people from traveling to their jobs, right? Or to their homes, killed a freaking little black baby in a car with her mother that was trying to turn around in traffic because of your freaking virtue signaling BS, because that's what it is. Because as soon as it doesn't align with your BS, now I don't like you. Now I think that because I was invited to this non-existent barbecue cookout, I think I have the license to talk reckless and talk any kind of way. That's something I will never stand for. I'm not cool with it. Regardless of the people I agree with and disagree with. I'm not cool with it. I'll never be cool with it. All right. So you have people coming out throwing little names. They're throwing names at 50 Cent. They're throwing names at Ice Cube. I say it's funny how so many people, y'all always cool with entertainers' political stance. You totally cool with it. Speak out for us until it aligns with something you don't agree with. Now it's shut up and dribble. Which one is it? And one thing about me, I am consistent. Not only am I consistent, I every single day challenge myself to be consistent. And whether I agree with somebody or not, I feel like they have the chance to talk every single time. Now, if I don't agree with them, I'll make it known. But I don't tell them to shut up and dribble. I don't tell them to not say anything. I don't tell them you should have just stayed quiet. Even freaking Dwayne Wade, I talked about this earlier, him coming around parading his son's sexuality, right? And he used that word, not me, not originally. He said, his son's sexuality. That's how he coined it. I didn't say you should have shut up. You should have stayed in the basement. Don't talk about that. I disagree with your methods. I disagree with talking about kids' sexuality. Why are we talking about kids' sexuality? But I don't try to shut people up and counsel them. People are totally cool. Y'all totally cool with celebrities talking until it's somebody you don't agree with. Pick some consistency and stay there with it. Because to think that you can pick and choose who can have a voice and who can say what, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. So get with it or get over it. Y'all used to beg these celebrities to speak for you. Now they're speaking. Now you want to pick and choose who you want to shut up and who you want to talk. It doesn't work like that. Something I found very funny and interesting about this is that 50 Cent don't care Trump doesn't like black people. 62% are you out of your effing mind? So a couple of things I want to mention about that is, first of all, this emotional reaction to who likes you, who doesn't like you, how they feel, as opposed to things that's actually written on paper in real time. And so some of the things over these past couple of years I have highlighted are things because I didn't want to talk about the same freaking thing the media's already talking about. They're beating it over the head like crazy. What are some things that are happening right now in real time on actual paper and looking at those things? Okay. So that's the first thing. Another thing that I find that's really interesting is that, and I think I haven't talked enough about this, and I'm gonna kind of mention it tonight, but I'm going to try to make a mental note to talk about these things more over time. Something that I have not talked enough about is the people that are behind all of these tax increases, right? And you say you want to increase taxes on the wealthy and this, that, and the other. Something I always talk about is looking at the totality of things and how they impact and affect other things, right? So for every action, there's an equal or greater reaction that goes something like that. Okay, so for example, even if we're looking at COVID lockdowns, people think, hey, oh, uh, I could just, um, not go to work. I can hide in my basement, hide in my closet, and everything's going to be okay. Not looking at how these things were going to affect small businesses, not considering that, not considering how this would greatly help some of those conglomerates that y'all swear some of y'all are so anti-capitalist, but y'all were some of the same ones saying essential. um Not thinking about how that affects the world, right? Because you have the United States that's this superpower, and even how these other countries depend on us when we're looking at exports and imports, and people sending money to these other countries and things like that. The effect on um uh suicide rates, depression. I think we have more people going missing now, numbers of abuse going up, right? All of this for COVID. And I've showed y'all the numbers, the actual numbers in previous shows, Tuesday Live. So I'm not going to go into all of that. But we have to remember to look at things in totality. And for every action, there's an equal or greater reaction, something similar to that. From an emotional stance, right? A lot of times I've noticed that people, particularly maybe young people, kind of adopt like some of the talking points of the media instead of thinking about how these things work in their actual life and work in real time. And so one of the things with these taxes is you have a person like 50 Cent here who is juxtaposing somebody's feelings and something they may say to how money is actually moving, right? How things are actually going to affect them in real time. So first of all, let's start off with the fact that California and New York City already have some of the absolute highest tax rates. Okay, let's start with that. This is a fact. This is a fact. Now, considering that, now look in New York City and let's look at LA. Let's look at am I thinking about San Francisco? I think I'm thinking about San Francisco. But let's just take New York City and LA. Highest taxes, but now we start looking at the quality of living, and we're not going to look at the quality of living for the rich. Let's say the middle class there. Middle class, low income. Particularly when you look at places like New York City and LA, you have some of the highest rent, highest rent. You have some of the biggest numbers of homelessness, right? You have schools that are not that great. You have the biggest gaps in form of wealth. So if you go to these cities, you have the really, really rich and the really, really poor. You have some of the worst policing that I've ever had the displeasure of seeing on camera. Think about it. Think about it. LA and New York, we're talking about LA and New York City. Quality of life, New York City, people all up under each other, not that great air, hardly no grass. LA, I think Skid Row is in LA. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. You have Skid Row, such a freaking big homeless population. They don't even know what to do with their homeless. Yet, some of the highest tax rates in the country. So therefore, my question is to you. This is in real time, based on things you've seen, you've learned about these places, you visited these places, you've seen a police brutality on camera. We know of some of these places, okay? Think about the Eric Garner case. You know this. Tell me, for the tax rates these people are paying, and I want somebody to let me know in my comments in New York City what it costs for a 1-bedroom apartment. So my question is to you, from what you can see with your own two eyes, based on the tax rates they already have, what worth are they getting that if you tell somebody in California and New York with what they're already seeing, what are you making them feel like they're getting with this money? Then all of the corruption. Then you have a California that was putting millions of dollars into these high-speed rails that never came to fruition. Millions of dollars, tax-paying dollars down the freaking drain. Going back to this book, that is your labor, time you spent, money the government took from you, gone down the drain. What do you have to they're already, the money we are already giving them, and this is why I said this was going to come back into play tonight. The money we are already giving them from our labor, because somebody works for that. Whether you want to pretend it's made up money, this, that, and the other, somebody is working for that. That is built off somebody's labor. We can go into talking about the Federal Reserve and all these other things. Not going to go into that tonight. What are they doing with all the money they're already freaking getting, right? And so even from my personal experience, I've talked about this. From Mississippi, born and raised, I have cousins, classworks, co-workers. It's like it's been this great migration to Texas. Y'all know this. I don't have to. Y'all know, y'all watching right now. Probably every single one of y'all know somebody that has recently moved to Texas. Why are people moving to Texas? Why are so many people moving to Texas? Are they moving because their governor or their mayor hurt their feelings by saying something racist they didn't like? Is that why your friend, your family, your coworker, your cousin, your uncle, is that why they moved to Texas? Or did they move for the job opportunities, the rising, expanding economy, no state tax? Somebody's getting me. Y'all following me, right? No state tax. I'm talking about booming economy for young people like me. So many people I've known have gone to Texas. Have y'all heard Texas is racist? I'm 100% sure at some point you've heard people say, "Oh, Texas is, good old boys in Texas." All the folks I'm talking about that moved to Texas look like me. Why would they choose to go to Texas and not progressive LA and not progressive New York? They have all these progressive ideas. They want to tax your money for it. Why are these ideas not manifesting? Why do I have to turn on social media and see a Eric Garner happening in a progressive New York? Something's not adding up. Why in places that are supposed to be about opportunity, I see that a skid row exists with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homeless people. So now to bring it back, when you already have some of the highest tax rates, where is the money going? What is happening to it? And what is people's actual number one reason for moving? Why do people actually migrate and move? More times than not, it is for job opportunities, lower taxes, better quality of life. There are people getting some really good, nice homes in Texas for really great prices. Why would people that look like me, again, go to Texas? It's because of the things they see. It ain't because of something Chris Cuomo said. It ain't because of something Trump said or didn't say. Money and opportunities are the motivating factors, whether people want to admit it or not. Even everyday people, if you don't say it like that, my cousin may not tell me outright, "Oh, I moved for to Texas for the no state tax. I moved to Texas for lower taxes." They might not say that outright, but they'll definitely say it's opportunities out here. Things are going up everywhere. Things are being built up. I can get a good home at a good price out here. Why do we think those are? How are these things interconnected? It's money. Money moves people. People make decisions off money more than they make decisions based off feelings. The data proves it. Find me surveys that say this person moved to this city based off their feeling, and find a survey saying this people moved based off job opportunities, growth. And I guarantee you job opportunities and growth is going to outweigh it every single time. Every single time. So money, job opportunities, quality of life, why people continue to stay in places like New York City with all the freaking bad air, they're taking all your money, they're pushing all the middle class out. I told y'all, even particularly in California, the black population in California has been halved in like the last 20 years. I can't even remember the exact number, but it's dwindling. Black people are moving out of California at astronomical rates. Why? We have to ask ourselves in real time why these things are being pushed out. The middle class being pushed out, leaving the very, very rich and the very, very poor. Now, next question. What happens when the very, very rich, like the 50 Cents, like the Joe Rogans, okay? 50 Cent hasn't moved yet, but he's like, F it, F the Knicks, you're out of your minds. But what happens when more people, like a Joe Rogan, say, I'm taking my million, I can't even remember how many subscribers he has, but like number one YouTube show, I think recently moving it to, I'm about to say Shopify, not Shopify, Spotify, for this new deal, right? What happens when a Joe Rogan and people like Joe Rogan say, hey, I am going to take my money. And he said this more or less. He said it outright. I'm going to take my money. California is too much. Homelessness problem going crazy. You keep upping the taxes. He didn't say this. I'm saying this. Where's the freaking money going? What do we actually have in real time to show for it? I'm taking my talents to Texas. What's stopping him? I'll go there. I'll take my tax revenue, the money that I pay into the system. I'll pack it up and take it with me. I'm taking my employees and the people I employ who pay taxes. I'm taking them with me. I'm taking my studio with me, possibly other opportunities and investments with me. I'm removing my money from California out of that pot to Texas. So if these policies have not even worked in the most progressive for the people, I'm looking at the numbers. The numbers are telling me Black people are moving out of we all get along here. We love everybody. California. Black people are moving out of California to racist Texas. What motivation would they have to do that? So if people want to continuously not look at these things by the data, that's why I've completely. Some people get upset with me because I don't know. Maybe they think I'm a little too like harsh or tough, or I'm a woman, so maybe they expect me to like look at like the emotional feeling, like social justice. But I'm like, we've had enough of that. We've been berated with it, beat over the head, so much so, and so a lot of times we allow our emotions to cloud what's happening in real time, what's happening to us and the people around us. And then not only that, I mean, I gotta keep it honest with y'all. Like my ability to accept the things around me and stop falling prey to the narrative. Um, it's ascending, and I can't take it back. I can't undo it. It's not my fault. It's happening to me, y'all. I'm a victim. Okay? But let me tell you. When I see people around me, and I'm not really going to start name dropping, but when I see people around me, and this is just not even one person, that's the crazy part about it, but a couple people that I've known who were freaking homeless, no money to their name, sleeping on people's couches, bumming rides, like eating noodles, like it's like stuff that you watch documentaries about and you read somebody's like come up book about, and they seem so far away, right? Like it makes me think of the FUBU guy. I think his name is like I don't know his name. I can't think of it right now. But y'all know the guy that was on like Shark Tank. And you read these books about these people and they seem so far away, right? Like it seems like, oh, like that's good for him. But then I start thinking about people that I know personally and people around me, and I've seen people literally, I'm not even making this up. I don't have to read the book. I know them personally, go from nothing to walking on freaking red carpets, like living, like going from sleeping on other people's couches to, I'm talking about like nearly mansions, possibly. I mean, yeah, I could say that word, mansions. Giving other people, this is beautiful, giving other people from their communities opportunities, not only building wealth in real time, but helping other people. The lengths I saw some of these people go, losing sleep, working till they couldn't work anymore, eating whatever was available, having to ask family members for money, moving across state lines for a dream, or saying, this is what I want. Working so hard for those opportunities, and then for me to turn around and treat them like a Jeff Bezos that I can't touch. Jeff Bezos is probably not the perfect example, but let's just say anybody over $400,000, making over $400,000 a year, right? To for me to have to accept that this person that I saw go through this journey, and when people say it takes 10 years for a come up, like it literally takes 10 years. Some people like success overnight, but a lot of times people be working on their craft and dreams for 10 years. So me seeing this and realize when I'm telling y'all this, I'm not even talking about one person, but I'm sure even y'all follow somebody on Instagram or social media who you saw their journey, you saw them come up. A person I often talk about that is kind of like inspirational to me is like Super Scent, who is like she's behind like the crayon box, right? And she's not even the typical like Hollywood beauty girl, glamour girl, but to see her journey go from this waitress to made like $1 million in a day one time, and to see all the things she was doing, giving back without even being asked, just doing these things, steadily giving back to her home from Louisiana, giving all this money, doing all these things for the kids in the high schools. To see stories like that, and then for me to turn around and try to treat that person like they're this other person that I may not know and may not be as disconnected to, but I just see their X amount of dollars and think, you can afford it. You don't even deserve all that. You should pay more. You should do this. You should do that. When I see a friend that was like, man, I moved here to follow my dream and I didn't even I don't even know if I'm gonna make it. Sleeping on people's couches. See you pull, like, give you encouraging words, see you pull through that, and now you're at the freaking top of your game. And for me to turn around and treat you like you don't need all that anyway, to treat you as if you don't deserve it. I can't. I can't do it. I can't. It's nearly impossible. And the fact that I don't even know one story like that, it's not just one, it's like a few. And for people to just try to paint it, because like I said, it's kind of like this disconnect that we have from people, and we just read them on Google and we look at their assets and what they're worth, and we don't even look at the biography and a story behind it. But when I started thinking about those things, y'all, like, what I'm supposed to do? The sacrifices, man, that people have made, and for people to discount that, and not only discount it, it's not even like people are discounting it necessarily in good faith or good measure, because we've seen it done, particularly with the New York, we've seen it done with the California. You have the highest tax rates and we still can't even show for where it's going. Highest tax rates and highest homelessness, how does that even go together? And I'm supposed to pretend like I don't know this, or I don't see that, or I can't read the stats or the numbers just because of some freaking hashtag. So my friend who worked, did his journey, I could see the whole freaking timeline, took 10 years to get to 400,000. Now the moment they reach it, it's like, oh, nah, bruh. You can only keep 40% of that. So now I'm thinking, if you would have known this up front, would it be even the same level of motivation? Would you have went that hard? Would you have slept on people's couches? Would you have asked people for money? Would you have come home? Would you have come back to Mississippi sooner? Because you're like, even if I mean, I don't know, y'all. Maybe I'm just venting. I'm venting, but it's hard for me to ignore these things when I remove the hashtags, when I remove the disconnect. Everybody was telling me about gentrification, and I'm trying to learn about gentrification. But then I started reading about not reading about. Then I started thinking about all these people I knew in my own circle that were, like I said, moving to Texas for better opportunities. Now they have this, they're creating awesome lives, building families, buying homes, starting business. I know people starting businesses here. Now am I supposed to look at them and say, you took that job from that Texonian? I don't know if Texonian is a word. I think it's Texan. You took that job from the Texan that was living there the whole time, and that apartment that you moved into made the taxes skyrocket, and that's not fair to the person that's been there for the last 25 years. Y'all tell me what's popular to say here. I'm sorry. I can't. Thank you, MC 007. Thank you. What's my talking points here, y'all? What I got to do to make this right and be on the trending thematic side of things, so I don't get canceled and lose no cool points, even though I'm talking about all people that look like me. So I don't even know how I could. Like, y'all don't cancel me. And so the moment I move that disconnect, stop looking to CNN and social media for my freaking talking points, and started looking at the things around me, the principles, how things were working in real time, how I see them working, the reasons I see people moving, making the decisions that they're making, the motivations for drive and to work up or work for certain things, and the principles, right? We talk about the principle because these people would work for these opportunities, move to these different places, and put people on from their freaking communities in real time. Y'all, I can't help that this happened, and I see it with my own eyes, and now I'm just telling y'all my experience, and I'm not giving it to you through a filter or a lens of what's popular and what's hashtagging right now, and what Angela Rye or Roland Martin told me to say. And this doesn't remove the idea that different people have different struggles, and things that happen, and different needs, and all of these other things, right? It doesn't remove the fact that we are empathetic to other people's lives and all of this, but I can't ignore, right? I can't ignore those things for a story, because if it's not mine, if I haven't seen those things, it's propaganda. I'm being infiltrated by other people's ideas and thoughts, and I had to stop doing that. I had to stop doing that and look at real time the decisions I was making, friends, family, small business owners I worked for, the things that were happening and affecting those decisions. Y'all, thank you, Crypto and a Revolution. Thank you so much. So I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, y'all. I had to share, but let's because I think I'm going longer here than expected. But let's get into DL Hughley real quick, and then we will wrap up for tonight. Thank you for everybody that's been tuning in. Make sure y'all give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you go ahead and subscribe for me. So you have DL Hughley, right? That's been going in on Ice Cube, okay? This was his statement. You've seen black person after black person after black person ruin themselves on the altar of Trump with nothing in return, and Ice Cube is the latest one. First of all, that's a lie, and I'll come back to that a little bit. The platinum plan, when I heard it, it was insulting from the gate. Why didn't they have the spinning rims plan? First of all, the platinum plan is not. I see. The platinum plan is not even Ice Cube's freaking plan. First of all, the platinum plan is something that the Trump administration worked on. Ice Cube's plan is called the Contract with Black America. When I heard it, it was insulting from the gate. Why didn't they have the spinning rims plan? On top of that, Hughley straight out says Trump typically meets with black entertainers instead of true political leaders and people with experience because he views them as folly. We have a third wave of COVID coming, and he's meeting with a dude that gave us 3 Fridays. Hughley points out that the right people are rarely in the room. So first of all, for this man to even try to discredit Ice Cube's work, gave us 3 Fridays. First of all, Friday, which is the number one Friday, is more, even to today, possibly more culturally relevant. And I'm not even talking about black culture, literally like American culture. Like, people love that movie. Okay? That movie is possibly more culturally relevant than anything I can even think about that D.L. Hughley has ever done or said. So to even try to come in diminishing him, first of all, to me is problematic. Second of all, I told y'all the platinum plan is not Ice Cube's plan, it's Trump's plan. So first of all, you're lying there. Second of all, you say you've seen black person after black person ruin themselves on the altar of Trump with nothing in return, and Ice Cube is the latest one. So I made content on this. I'll say it again. I don't know if y'all remember this or not, but after Kanye West, y'all can ignore it. You could try to overlook it. You could do whatever you want. It doesn't change the facts of what actually happened. After Kanye West so you already had criminal justice reform that was being worked on, the First Step Act. After Kanye West meeting with Donald Trump at the White House, because that bill had been being stalled at the Senate. I don't know if y'all remember that. The House was kind of saying no on it. I think it stalled in the Senate for a little bit. After Kanye West meeting with Trump, he said, Trump was like, basically he was going to talk to other Republicans to get this on board to go ahead and get it pushed through. Now, whether you know it or not, I'm sure y'all do, Trump loves celebrities, like, right? He came from that world. He used to hang out with them. All of these pictures of even black celebrities that he used to hang out with, Oprah, 50 Cent, Russell Simmons, Diddy, okay, tons of people, right? He loves celebrities. He's going to get them attention. If they want to talk, he's going to let them talk. My biggest problem with D.L. Hughley is that even though on a surface level, I do agree with D.L. Hughley on why do politicians always invite entertainers, even before Trump, right? Notoriously, like we said earlier on, Malcolm X talked about these things, how you would have these politicians always invite black entertainers to the White House and all these other things, right? On a surface level, I agree with that. We've seen that. I've talked about this. My problem with D.L. Hughley is now, for me, what is your motivation? Why are you saying this all of a sudden? Why are you coming at Ice Cube so hard? Is it because you can't control Ice Cube's agenda or what he's trying to do? DL Hughley did not go in on Cardi B when Cardi B was talking to Joe Biden. DL Hughley did not go in on Lizzo when Lizzo was talking to Kamala Harris. DL Hughley did not go in on Brandy and Monica when they invited Kamala Harris over there to the versus battle. Y'all are all, you never gave this speech before. Never. But all of a sudden, when it doesn't align with the agenda that you are okay with, you ain't never had a problem with entertainers speaking. But now that it's somebody that you don't agree with, not only do you talk down on this dude like he don't got a freaking long resume, now all of a sudden he problematic, you dissing him, this, that, and the other. Now all of a sudden you care about black entertainers being in the White House when Jay-Z and Kendrick Lamar and Meek Mill was lining up in the pictures with Obama. Nobody cared. Everybody was cool with the entertainers in the White House. Pick a position and stay there, because if you don't, now I start to wonder where your motivation lies. Is somebody paying you to say this all of a sudden? Is somebody paying you to come out against Ice Cube like you didn't come out against Cardi B? Is it because Cardi B didn't demand anything? Is it because Cardi B didn't ask for anything? Is it because Cardi B wasn't giving attention or trying to wager something for something greater? Stop picking and choosing who can talk and who can't. Now I don't trust you. I don't trust that. I didn't hear him come out about Diddy's Black Party. No problem with that. Because technically, if Diddy was honestly being genuine, honestly being about the people, honestly being about what he said he was being about, technically, that our Black Party could siphon some votes away from Joe Biden, right? However, if you were here at the beginning of the live, we know that that's just a smoke and mirror, okay? Funded by Act Blue, the same people that are funneling money into Black Lives Matter, into Joe Biden. Why all this energy? Why the vitriol? We freaking know why. Somebody rings that phone, says you have the attention of the people, even though you never went in on Cardi B when she met with a political candidate. You have to go in on Ice Cube because he's asking for something. He's demanding something. He's put something on the table. He's getting too much attention. He's talking to both people, which always made common sense to me. And it's so funny. It's so funny to watch this happen in real time. And I'm not tripping because, you know, the message has to get out at some point. I don't even know, 2-3 years ago, made my walk away video, and some of the gripes that I see people having now, and just imagine, right? That's crazy. That was like 2 years ago, maybe 3. Just imagine all the things I've learned and noticed and seen since then. But when I made that video, it kind of sounded like the Ice Cube thing. Like, we've been voting for Democrats all these years. What the heck do we have to show for it? Why not use both parties and negotiate and make them work for our vote? Literally, it's still there. It's still available. Go back and watch my walk away video. I was highly upset with the Democrats and what I was noticing and what I was seeing. And then particularly when you have a person like Trump, regardless of what people try to, what characteristics you try to tie to him because of what some media personality tries to tell you, regardless of how you want to flip it and dice it, this man is so pick and just dip in every little thing that I think he wants to be more liked and more recognized, whether people are going to recognize him or not. This is why you'll see legislation here for women, for human trafficking and sex trafficking victims, things for LGBT, things for Black people. You see all these things, right? And then you'll have people come out and say, "Oh, I don't know why you doing that for them. They ain't never gonna like you. They ain't never gonna accept you." This is what some of the people in his base say, right? Why even do that? Why you pandering? They ain't gonna like you anyway. They still gonna say you racist. They still gonna say you transphobic. They still gonna say you anti-LGBT. Why even do those things? Why waste your time doing those things? And I think it has to do with ego. I think his ego is so big that even if it's just on paper, even if it's in the back of his mind, even if it's for the few people that may know about this and may know about that, it's like, well, hey, I did it. I tried. Why not try to negotiate with somebody that has that type of ego? That's like, yeah, I need to link with somebody to do something so I can say I did this. Why not try to get the ear of the person that has power and the person that is going to potentially have power? That makes sense to me. Why not leverage and get the most for your vote? That makes sense to me. Actually, the more I even think about it, anything less actually seems ridiculous. Because what's the point of even voting if your vote already belongs somewhere? If your vote is already earmarked, Southeast Desi said having a big ego gets things done because you have something to prove. You got something to prove to people. Uh, so if anything, a person is speaking out, because 50 Cent may have been voting for Trump all along. DL Hughley, you I was about to say they're real ugly, y'all. DL Hughley, you all kissing the DNC's butt. And then you have somebody like Ice Cube that comes along and actually, because you're saying, I'm not for this, I'm not for that, I'm going to talk to both, see where we land with it, would seem the most genuine to me, particularly because I said these things several years ago. And even more interesting, this is the first time, and y'all let me know if I'm wrong, this is the first time I realize or recognize a major figure even coming out to have, when you got the balls to come out and say, I'm not talking about the minorities, I'm not talking about the POCs and the people of colors and the BIPOCs. Y'all know they coming up with new terms all the time. BIPOCs is the new one. It mean like black, interracial people of color, or black and indigenous people of color. I'm like, God help me. But to even have the balls to come out and say, like, this is, oh, people really ready to get you offline now. People really ready to get you offline, because when that black population is steadily dwindling and the Hispanic population is steadily going up, and you tell folks you ain't talking about people of color, you ain't talking about all the others. Oh, baby, we got to blackball you. And I think CNN tried to keep him off for a little while. He talked about that. He tweeted about it, Ice Cube. Uh, But it's just funny, man. It's just funny to watch in real time. And I always wonder, even I ask myself, you know what I mean? I'm like, why now? Like, why Ice Cube stepping out now? And I still kind of had that question. I talked with some friends about it. They kind of gave me their ideas behind it. What I will give Ice Cube credit on one thing is, and I talked about this and I posted this video of David Banner that went crazy numbers, did crazy numbers on Twitter before they freaking snatched my Twitter. But he talked about how entertainers, like, y'all not supposed to be the voice. You supposed to be the wranglers and bring people to the feet of wise people, right? He said this in his video. And one thing I do give Ice Cube credit on is he's worked with people like Dr. Clyde Anderson and some other people and things like that, which, you know, I think that's good. And I think that actually says even more about his motivations as opposed to somebody that's just trying to be seen and just trying to do things off emotions. But we gonna see how it goes. We gonna see what happens. Things are heating up. So I told y'all as the election gets closer, it's going to be it's gonna get crazier and crazier. Even this is kind of random and off subject a little bit. Something, and I need to talk about this on my Instagram and Twitter also, that I mentioned that many of y'all need to be aware of, is this is a safety thing. As Thanksgiving and Christmas comes up, and we know Thanksgiving and Christmas and cold weather, you have kind of like robberies and burglaries and sometimes things that go up. My mind is already thinking about all the trench coats, bubble coats, hoodies, all that's about to come out, coupled with these masks. So it's going to get harder and harder to be able to like identify people. These are something particularly, especially for my ladies out there watching, go ahead and start thinking about these things as it's getting colder. Just being safe, keeping your situational awareness up, remembering that I think they're saying maybe like 8 billion people are out of jobs. All right. We have to, like, we don't live in la la land, even though we hope for the best, even though we like rainbows and unicorns. I like those too, and aliens and, you know, poppy seeds and all these other things. We have to be in real time and we have to be aware of the things that's happening. So those are some things as it's getting cold. Y'all just want to be thinking about keeping your situational awareness up, because you aren't going to be able to see people's faces, noticing other things. Just the safety precautions, just being very aware, alert, maybe even changing some of your routines. Instead of getting gas after work, maybe, you know, before work or things like that. But going into this election, y'all see how it's getting out here. So we don't negotiate with tyrants. Make sure y'all have even if you don't carry a firearm, which you probably should, but starting to put yourself in the mind frame of, especially if you're one of those people that be like, defund the police. That means you are going to have to be the authority for protecting yourself. So moving in the way of these things based on principles, not just saying what's cool by hashtags, but preparing ourselves for the things we say or pretend or act like we won't, right? But all right, y'all. So let me get out of here. This ran a little bit longer than I expected because I started getting in my feelings and venting to y'all and stuff like that. But shout out to my patrons. If you would like to become a member of my Patron, that link is below. For Entertainers Are Not Leader tees. And my mugs, those links are below. I'm going to drop the link again for the homie Dev over there at Trenchwork Chronicles. If you would like one of these dope hoodies, we don't negotiate with tyrants. All right, I'm going to drop that. That's also going to be below as well. Again, thank you to my patrons. Thank you to my VIP patrons, Michael Ray, Daniel, and Alexander. And all right, y'all have a good night. Bye-bye. See you next Tuesday.